Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Halftime with Bizzy, and am I ever excited for this episode to come out today. We have Gares joining us on the podcast, but it's not to talk about his history. I know typically we do that when we have our guests, we run down their history. However, we're talking about 100 Thieves since he is the head of FPS for 100 Thieves, and this is now the third return to Counter-Strike with a pretty solid core so far, with Glaive as the coach, Device as the AWPer, and Rain as the IGL. I mean, that's got a cinema in the making, it's gotta be. And at the time of recording this video, I want to say they've already played a couple matches. I know they're playing for IEM Atlanta qualifiers, but I'm not sure what happened since then, as I am recording this on the 5th of February. However, we're gonna get right into things. If you enjoyed today's video, like, comment, and subscribe. And tell me how excited you are to see 100 Thieves in about 6 months and see how far they've gone. We will catch you guys in the outro. Sit back, relax, enjoy. Hey.
Yo, what's good? What's good? Sorry, man.
No worries. Dude, I gotta say, like, thank you so much. Like, I appreciate the hell out of you, being willing to do this. And, like we were saying, with all the stuff on your plate, like, I cannot thank you enough for giving me some of your time, dude.
Oh, of course, man. Like, I love how you approach the convo and just, yeah, you seem like a great person. So I love to help out people like that. By that's a dope nitro behind you.
Thank you. It's my in-game nitro. We recreated it.
Let's go. I got my fucking Doppler.
Yo,
right here.
let's go. What?
I have a karambit over there too.
Oh yeah, I got a Bowie Tiger Tooth over there. Like downstairs, I got a couple karambits. I feel like when you're a Counter-Strike player, you just kind of find shit like that, and it just ends up in your house somehow.
Exactly. I have like all these old pins. I got this bad boy next to me from like the 2018 major.
Oh my god.
I have like all above me is like a bunch of like the badges.
Oh, whoa, look at that.
Yeah,
holy.
This whole room is just like filled with dog shit.
That's crazy, man. Hell yeah.
It's like my life in here.
100 Thieves would enter CSGO and would end up releasing the roster in January 31st in 2018. Then they came back in late 2019, and then a year later announced that they were departing from Counter-Strike again. And now we have in CS2 100 Thieves for the first time, which is really exciting. So before we get into the nitty gritty, like with you being the head of FPS for the team, how does it feel to be a part of the third, re-entry into Counter-Strike? Like, this is the big news. It's huge news.
Yeah, it feels great to be back. I'm not going to lie. I mentioned it before, but I was kind of like just wandering. I was like co-streaming some of the tournaments and like grinding Premiere. I was falling in love with CS again. Like the history behind the tournaments I was watching, it was like bringing tears to my eyes almost. Like watching players like Kerrigan, who I grew up watching, like in high school. Like this, just still competing at the top level, going to the finals of a major. Like I could not wrap my head around it because I had been immersed in Valorant for so long. And it's not that I ever hated CS or completely shut it out, but I was now immersed fully back in CS, and it was hitting me like a brick wall. And then out of nowhere, my current boss, Joseph Jang, who's the SVP of tech at 100 Thieves, shot a DM to me. I didn't even apply. And he was like, hey, we're interested in building out this CS2 program. It's kind of contingent on some things happening, but we'd love to talk to you. And the rest is history. Honestly, it has been incredible. I've learned so much about like how 100 Thieves operates and how like big of a company it is. And it's just been such a wild ride, like bringing in Graham Messioso and learning so much from him about the VRS system, talking to legends that like I grew up with watching as a player, like Glaive and Rain and Device. Like I'm a little starstruck. I'm not gonna lie. I enter some rooms and I'm like, this is crazy. And then their humbleness to want to play with like the young talent on the team. So it's just been a dream. Like I'm not gonna lie, everything's been so amazing. It's been hard, but it's been amazing.
For sure. And I mean, like the history of the individuals on the team now coming together, like it's kind of insane, really. Like how did you come, like, how did 100 Thieves come back to, like, was it because I know Nadeshot did like a deal with Roobet? Was that kind of like the initiative that kind of sparked this whole thing back up?
That's actually a great question that you just asked. So, um, Nadeshot's deal with Roobet is completely separate from actually
Oh,
the 100 Thieves CS Roobet deal. He has a creator deal that he got that's like not like anything to do with us,
oh,
right? Our deal, the players don't have to gamble on Roobet. They don't have to like actively promote it and things like that. But Roobet is in a partnership with 100 Thieves, and actively like I am talking with people in Roobet and the partnerships team to make sure certain deliverables are met and certain things that they want to happen, right? They really do care about this team, like not just as a marketing tool, but because they love CS. I actually happen to know some of these guys in like 2016 when I first like met people in like OP skins. Like some of them
oh,
came from that
wow.
time frame. Yeah,
Holy
I couldn't
shit.
believe it. I could not believe it. I did not know this before I started working for 100 Thieves and talking to Roobet. It's just kind of, happened that I ended up figuring these things out along the way. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of like what that's been like. And they're just super passionate about CS. And yeah, obviously they're also interested in like marketing the product, which is what kind of Nadeshot's doing.
For sure. But I mean, to have the roots of, like, I feel like it's always so much more organic when, let's say people that are investing in a company or something, if they're actually like I always relate to skateboarding, for instance, because I love skateboarding. I was into skateboarding for many, many years. If a new company comes about and it's just some Joe Schmo with a shit ton of money, it's not really going to be the same as it would be if it was like a skateboarder that started a company and it got big and they're like super into it and they know how the industry works. You know what I mean? Like it's good to have people that were in the field at some point being a part of like some new big thing. Like I think that's really important.
Dude, preach. Like Rodney Mullen makes a company in
Dude.
skateboarding. It's fucking legit. If a
Yeah.
suit makes it that's never ridden a skateboard in his life, like it's gonna have a lot of money and backing,
Yeah.
and it might be able to like get viral, but the products will never be the same.
Yeah,
And
like
like,
that's, you don't see Jeff Bezos
yeah,
making a skate company. We don't want
yeah,
that. We
exactly.
don't
Yeah,
need
exactly.
that.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
agree.
So, and just before we get on to the next question, like how, because I know Nadeshot, I forget exact stance with 100 Thieves. Is he still a part of it? And if so, is he a part of the Counter Strike team at all?
So Nadeshot is, yeah, he's very active in 100 Thieves, but less so like on the business side than what he once was, right? I think it
Yeah,
was just taking a toll on his mental. Uh, I I can't even put myself in his shoes. Like I've been nothing near like what Nadeshot was as like a both creator, influencer, and like the front facing president CEO of 100 Thieves. Like he was getting all of the hate, and I can only imagine how that weighs on someone's like soul. Like that has to just be so painful. And
absolutely.
so I think I'm honestly speaking out of my ass here, but I think he wanted to kind of just find his love again for like content creation and gaming, and he still is like active. He has active conversations with like the leadership at 100 Thieves. But when I was on 100 Thieves in like 2022, I was like talking to Nadeshot in all these meetings, and like I could get his time a lot more than I can today because he's kind of taken that step back to just enjoy his life. Like
For
he has
sure.
kids and stuff. Yeah, I think he's still involved, but I don't know the extent fully, to be honest. I just know
Okay.
he is from conversations with leadership.
Okay, well that's cool. I mean, that's like an important part of it too, the guy that's the face of 100 Thieves to be involved with it is good to know. I was just curious because I'm sure people would be interested to know that.
Yeah, like we were watching, man, this kind of like sacrilege to say in this podcast, but we were watching like the Valorant VCT co-stream of Nadeshot, and like I was cracking up, dude. This guy is hilarious. Like every line is like a banger. Like I don't even know how his brain moves like that. And so like I don't know. I'm just happy because he seems so happy right now doing what he's doing, and he's also elevating 100 Thieves massively by being so passionate about the company. So I love it. Like I actually just love what makes him happy, and he seems like he's in a good spot.
Hell yeah, man. Right on. So the roster, without talking about each and every individual accolade that some of these star power players have and the coach as well. I mean, we'd be here all day. You'd have to write off the rest of your day. We'd be here way too long. So we're going to, not to disregard them, but we're going to kind of just skip over them because it would take too long. Rain was the first signee, which was absolutely crazy. I'm a massive FaZe fan. I was pretty upset when they said that they were releasing him, and that whole thing was kind of crazy. And then 100 Thieves announcer coming back, and then Rain. It was like, whoa! Like I think everybody was looking at that. Really cool to see. Then we have Device, obviously, who's been around forever. Many accolades, and then Glaive as the coach. I mean, pretty crazy. And then you guys also have some, up and coming prospects. We got Sirah, Agil, and poiii, who are going to be playing alongside them. Can you kind of break down a little bit about how you, like, where did you start pointing fingers at, let's get this player, let's get that coach, you know what I mean? How did this whole roster kind of assemble?
Yeah, so I as like a GM, I tried to just make everyone happy. And I tried to make the least amount of decisions for someone else as possible. And so the first thing was like I wanted Messioso to come in and help with like the VRS system on if we should buy a core or do like a free agent build. And I really leaned on him and trusted his guidance here on, like, look, building from scratch, we could get in the top 20, top 30 pretty quick. Like it's not overnight and it's going to require some hard work,
Oh yeah.
but we can do it. And we'll also save an immense amount of money that we can use later on in a lot of cool ways that I think the community will enjoy. Um, and so from that, we decided to normally I would want the head coach first, actually, and that I would use the head coach to basically find the IGL. And I would interview
Okay.
both of those people a lot because I was a head coach and I was an IGL.
Mm-hmm.
And I know how to ask questions into answers to kind of like really get into the weeds with these people. And then it operated a little differently here because when Rain hit the market, a lot like you, like this guy is very special. He's a very
Yes.
special leader and I trust him immensely, like to lead this team in a fantastic way, to nurture the young players on the team. He literally was such an amazing person to talk to and still is. But those initial interviews, man, when I learned he wanted to IGL, he was putting a lot of work into it. I was throwing questions his way and he was like really going into depth about what he wanted. He put a lot of thought into it. And so we signed Rain first. And again, we looked at cores again. We reevaluated one more time. Do we get a core? And we looked at a lot of options. And meanwhile, I'm interviewing like a lot of coaches, right? And there's a lot of different styles of coaches that I've learned over the year. There's like the motivational leader type of coach, and then there's like someone like Glaive who can literally just like hop in a server and tell these young players how to micro, how to crossfire, how to path, how to use utility, and he has that respect
Mm-hmm.
because he's done it. Whereas like it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier about Jeff Bezos made a skateboard company, right? If Jeff Bezos was the coach of the team, he could have like all the docs, all the sheets, all the money, all the everything.
He's got the
But
mind.
will he have the respect of Glaive? I don't know. I don't think so. It would take a lot of work and like a lot of other ways of getting it, right? Um, and so when I showed Rain all of the styles of coaches, we ended up settling on Glaive, and it was we all voted like within. It wasn't just like a me choice. It was like everyone was considered here, and it seemed like Glaive was overwhelmingly, unanimously the option we wanted. And so once we had those two, it was like, okay, now we need to probably find an AWPer. And this could be a problem. In the open market of CS, it's like very difficult to find
Yeah.
one. And there's some issues that, Device was having over the years with like his health and things like that. And, you know, I talked a lot with Lucas, Glaive, and Rain, and we talked it through. And I am super optimistic that on this team, Device will find happiness and not have some of those issues that he had in the past. I talked a lot with Device about his approach, how how he how he approaches his craft is unlike anyone I think I've ever talked to in esports. Actually, it's really it's really incredible, and it's so obvious after talking to him why he has his accolades. Right? If I had his emotional intelligence when I was a player, it would have been insane. But I was like a caveman compared to how Device thinks. Like he treats his game with so much respect, and his work ethic is like unmatched when I
Hmm.
talk to him. But he's aware of his deficiencies and flaws, and it's it's like a complete package of what you would want in a competitor, in my opinion. But he has had some rainy days, right? No pun intended. And another thing that all three of these legends agreed to is they wanted to play with young talent. And this was something that was
Okay.
super important to me, right? I didn't want to build like some boomer team. And if you look at like my history in like Valorant and even CS, like I always liked having young talent on the team. I think they innovate at a higher level. They hold the older players accountable to their drive and work ethic as youngins, and it like revitalizes you. It revitalizes the team,
Hmm.
and so once I got all three of them like to tell me that's what they wanted, I felt very comfortable in having Messioso, having Glaive, having Rain, and honestly not so much Nico, but he was involved in Messioso would feed them like POVs of like dozens of players, and these guys were watching them and looking at their trading, their spacing, their util usage, how aggressive they were, their aim, and then they got me a list of people to go after, and I went after them. I went after like the highest ones on their list, and I trusted them so much because who am I to tell them who's good or bad or who should be on this team? Who am I? Like they're they're playing the game. They are the pros. They are legends in the game. And so I'm not the one handpicking these youngins. It's actually coming from the players themselves. And this is what I meant earlier is like I'm not making all the decisions. I could, but I'm not.
It's a
I'm
collaborative
trying to
effort.
yeah, I'm trying to empower the right people in the right moments to make these decisions. And sometimes people don't want to because they've never been given that kind of power before, because and that kind of authority comes with responsibility. And but I that's where I will fall on the sword for this team because that was my choice. I could have easily done it myself, but I didn't because this is what I believe is best for culture and how things operate. Um, and so, Lucas wanted a really aggressive rifler, and he loved poiii. Like honestly, this kid like was at the very top of his list, and the way he talked with certainty about him was like, I will do anything to get this kid on the team.
Oh,
Like
wow.
it was like he was absolutely certain of poiii,
And that's
and
got to be a huge compliment from poii's, point of view.
yeah,
Like to have Glaive be like, I want that kid. Like that's a
yes,
huge compliment.
exactly, exactly. And then sirah, like the same thing. Lucas talked a lot with sirah. Then I interviewed sirah. And it's not like I'm not interviewing these players as well to like check for deficiencies or holes or making sure there's no like bias, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of bias in esports, right? Like people bringing their friends or like, yo, come in, everyone get a paycheck, let's go.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of that. And you just have to make sure that's not happening. And sirah was the one that was willing to take some role changes and some hits to the team and grow as a player. And he's like fully bought in. He's completely aligned with Lucas, with Rain, with Device. He's a great personality and he's a phenomenal player, just as is. So again, like it was one of those no-brainer decisions. And the last one, Andre, Agile from Saw, he was the kind of passive lurker type player we were looking for. Insane skill. He's not trying to dominate the conversation, right? We talked to a few players in this camp, right? And I'm not going to name names or say who they were
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I
That's
think that's
fine.
a little disrespectful.
For sure.
But I'll say that like as far as meshing into the team while being an insane player in the exact role that we were looking for, it was like a puzzle piece that just fit in. And
Oh, right
so
on.
I think in Agile's role, I did interview like several people, and I think that we could have run into some problems if we went in the other ways, if I'm being honest. And I loved what Andre brought to the team, and his style of communication would blend in perfectly. We didn't need another massive voice, right? We have an IGL. We have the greatest IGL of all time, in my opinion, that moved into the coaching role, and we have potentially the best opper, you know, in CS:GO device. Like he has won so much and done so much, and he is going to have his ways of wanting to play and start rounds on both halves. And so I didn't think like a big voice in this spot would be great. And you know what? Like Glaive felt the same way. And so that's how we ended up with Andre. And it's not because like we just ended up with him the way that came out my mouth. It was like he was perfect for like the last person, and he fit like a puzzle piece, like I said earlier. And that's how we ended up with the full team.
That's crazy. You know, I don't know the first thing about, you know, creating a team and assigning players and stuff like that, but it sounds like a perfect situation that probably rarely ever happens of like it just worked out. And like
Yeah.
with Glaive being somewhat fresh into saying, I want to be a coach now, and then 100 Thieves pops back up, boom, we'll grab him. Rain wants to be an IGL. Oh, we're looking for an IGL. Boom, grab him. And, you know, the opping situation is not easy right now to be, you know, on the open market like you were talking about.
Yeah.
Not a great look, you know, not a whole lot of options. And then you got Device, and then they all, like, everybody wanted to come up with a collaborative decision on who they're going to pick for the prospects, the up and comers, which I think is really cool too. You know, it just kind of like you look at so many teams now, there's like 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds playing. It's just like, what the hell? But then you see them in the top 20 at the end of the year for HLTV, and you need to have the young players to correspond with, you know, the goats, the OGs of the game. And I think that there's almost too many angles of like, holy shit, this is going to be really cool to see unfold when they start playing.
Dude, I agree. And you know, I think those young players need like veteran voices to guide them as
For
well.
sure.
I think both of them rely on each other. Like it's a mutual relationship where both parties benefit when like the boomers with the experience play with the zoomies that have the incredible individual skill and innovation. Um, and the usually a little bit more grind probably because they haven't had to deal with like years of the circuit. Like the circuit in CS, that traveling like
Oh
weighs
my
on you,
god. For sure.
especially like deep in your life. Once you start having like you're married and you have kids, like
Oh,
traveling like that will really grind your soul down. Like, so that's why I ultimately stepped away from playing and coaching and stuff like that. And that's why I have so much respect for like, Rain and
Rain.
Glaive
Yeah.
because their competitive side has no quit. It has no quit at all. And yeah, there's a lot more I could say, but those guys are so special to me.
For sure, man. And like we were saying earlier, you know, it's almost time that 100 Thieves is officially hitting the server and playing their first couple matches. Can you tell me a little bit about how the preparations and the boot camps have been and what people can expect to see from 100 Thieves at some of the upcoming tournaments they're playing in?
Yeah, good question. So we're about to play in this open qualifier right now for IAM Atlanta on the 6th and the 7th. Hopefully we can make it through to the close shortly after. And I I don't know when this is going to be released, but right now, we're having slight issues. We're trying to get a boot camp ahead of the Roman Imperium Cup, and it could happen or could not happen right now. Yeah, I'll probably find out in the next 24 hours, truthfully, and I'm ready to like pull the trigger or just we don't do it and we just show up to Roman Imperium Cup 5 without a boot camp. And that'll be our first LAN, right? I think I obviously want our team to win everything, and my hopes are so high. But I also know how difficult these open qualifiers online can be. And so I think they're literally kind of going into the gauntlet. And I love that. I love that they're willing to do that before
For
going to their
sure.
first LAN. Um, I hope that I can get them into this boot camp. Again, like there's one tiny thing that's like kind of holding this back right now. And if if I get that thing done, then I'm pulling the trigger, and we're doing the boot camp, right before at the SAW Esports Arena, which is where the tournament's held. I think that would be great training. Um, and then from that, we're going to be going to Bucharest. Oh my gosh, Draculand. That's what it was. Draculand season 5 in Bucharest from Roman Imperium Cup, and then we'll evaluate after that like what we need to do next, right? Because you never really know like what's going to happen VRS points, that far out. And I think that would be a good place to just pause for a second, see what's happening, see where we are in the rankings at that point, because there's been tweets that are like, yeah, here's a case study. Foot, they just won Draculan 4, I think it was, and they came from the lower bracket and won 9 out of 10 games. If a brand new team were to have done that, they would be ranked in the top 30 in VRS,
That's
which is
crazy.
insane. One tournament can do that. And so it's hard to just keep planning after like 3 events like that because we don't really know. Like we don't know where we're going to be. We hope
Yeah.
we're going to be high up, but we obviously, like, it's esports, you can't guarantee winning and stuff like that. We can only hope for the best. And yeah, so that's where we're going to pause. And then at that point, our facility in Belgrade will have been opened and we can evaluate like boot camping there and, doing some stuff around there. But that's truthfully the plans right now.
All right. That's interesting. And the whole VRS thing too. It's crazy. I was just watching before we got on the interview here. Foot was actually playing G2, and they've been on an absolute tear for Krakow right now. And I'm pretty sure I wasn't watching, but I'm pretty sure G2 just beat them, but not by much. But they beat Furia yesterday, and I think they gained like, I don't know, 30 points or something like that up until yesterday when they beat Furia. And now they're in like the top 30, I think it was. And if they beat G2 today, it would have given them X amount more points. They could have even been in the top 20. Like, it's crazy how quick, you can get these points. But I think, to have like a pause and kind of regroup and stuff is cool. You don't want to get too head over heels about stuff and then you just get, fed to the wolves, right? It's a crazy, crazy world in the world of esports.
Dude, you couldn't have said it better. And by the way, that Foot team is incredible. Like, actually, I said it in like a past interview. They actually blow my mind. They're in the top 20 VRS, I believe. They were at one point. Their average age of their player when I was first looking at cores was in the 18s. Like now
That's
it's
crazy.
19.1. I have never seen that in my years of Counter-Strike. Like an average age top 20 team in the world of 19. Like normally the game favors experience, if I'm being honest. And
For sure.
like they're a unicorn, man. So props to like Coolio, and that's part of the reason why we brought in Xander as the assistant coach. Like this guy is so brilliant, like so brilliant, and I totally see why like he, Foot wanted this guy as their assistant coach. His name is we have an army of Lucases. He's another
Yeah.
Lucas, so I, I can't have to call them by their alias. But he's so special. Like I'm so glad we got him because his ability to communicate with young players and like work through in a different way than the other Lucas Glaive is it's just perfect. Like I'm not gonna lie, like they complement each other so well, and yeah, it's such a great relationship when I'm looking from the outside. Like I'm not there every day in practice. I'm not gonna bullshit you, but I am getting like high end or like high level. Um, I could technically tune in whenever I want, like to their practice, but then I'm overstepping. But I'll listen in every now and then, and the communication is what I had always dreamed of in a team. If I'm being honest, like it's the emotional band within a round is like they're not like B, come on, come on, come on, two dead, two dead. They're not doing any of that.
Yeah.
It's like crystal clear communication where everyone kind of knows their role and their space in the team. And to see that already, it's not always like that because we're still a new team and they've only had a handful of practices. But I see where it's heading, and I'm very optimistic. I love it. Like I'm not gonna lie, I love it, and I can't wait to see them play.
Beautiful, dude. And the community is right behind you. Like we're all excited too. um So both you and Messioso have big titles in the organization, and I want to give a quick shout out to Messioso because I was talking to him originally before you. I didn't want to bother him. I felt like I could have been bothering him a bit. I know he's probably just as busy as you, so
So good.
I just tried to shift to someone else in the organization. Luckily, we made it happen. But shout out to Messioso regardless. You know, Messioso is the head of the CS operations, and you're the head of FPS. So that being said, like, what are you guys prepared to do to help support the team? And could you kind of just break down those roles to, people out there like me who don't really know the ins and outs of like what those titles actually entail within an organization?
Yeah, that dude, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know when I first joined 100 Thieves, and it took a long time for us to kind of like get a system where we're both comfortable. But now that the team is built and like Graham is in Europe with the team, Graham's gonna be like Messioso will be at all the events with the team, right? He's like listening into practices at times. He's like their go-to resource at all times, and he'll also be, even though I like had my fingers on like the high level decisions of the Belgrade facility, and I'm currently like, trying to purchase the PCs and stuff like that. He'll be the one that like manages that and goes there with the team, and is there to receive a lot of the items. And so he is super essential. Like he's my direct communication into the team. Whereas like I'm in LA with uh like the hundred Thieves headquarters, and I'll talk to like the partnerships team. I'll talk to the Roobet team a lot. I'll talk to the content team about what types of content they want.
A lot of the
And
overhead stuff.
yeah, and I want Graham to be like the front-facing person in the org. So like this will likely be a rare type of interview for me right here, because I just got it greenlit where Graham is going to do like a weekly kind of update, I guess, without a better way to put it.
Ooh.
And he did this on complexity, and he shared it with me, and I was like, I will make this happen. Like this sounds amazing. Like we can have our fans be so connected to you and the team, and we can give them weekly updates on like where we are and what our plans are and how has it been going. Um and I just love that. And so like I'm kind of pulling those types of strings, but then I'm also doing stuff in like Valorant. Like I'm running the VCT team, and I do a little bit different stuff over there because it's just a totally different game, different circuit, and then also the Game Changers team as well. So it's just like we have different roles and responsibilities, and sometimes he'll take lead on things and sometimes I'll take lead on things. Like this boot camp right now, I started it off some of the conversations, but then I passed it on to Graham because he's more experienced with some of this stuff from GMing complexity and knowing like what these CS players want current day, right? And so I'll try to control the budget. Like that's my job, is controlling the budget at like the highest level
Okay.
and working with like the macro aspects of 100 Thieves. And I'll even do like podcasts and stuff. Like they've used me like that because I was a content creator. Like they want me to host stuff. Um, so I'll do stuff like that. But ideally, I really want Graham to have like that weekly update thing and be like connected with our fans on a way closer level than I could ever be. And he's really, really bright when it comes to that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's kind of it.
All right, right on. It sounds like, I know I said it earlier, but it sounds like everything fell into place like perfectly almost. And the obviously with any team or any business or company organization whatever, there needs to be the collaborative, like it's a team, like with you don't have anything without a team that works and is structured properly. So it sounds like things are like really coming together really well, have come together really well so far. And yeah, I'm just super excited, man. I'm really itching to see the boys on the server. Really stoked.
Dude, me too. I'm so grateful that I'm done with the building phases because like I was so stressed.
Oh yeah.
Like those are such big like choices that are being made, and the fallout of a wrong choice can be felt not like the next day, not the next week, but like 6 months down the road. And so, but I feel like we made some really, really good choices, and I love the guys we got on the team right now, and I'm super optimistic. Um, Yeah, I'm just excited to watch them play. Like I'm like all the other fans. Like, when is this team gonna play? Like, all
Yeah.
this content. Like y'all like me for real. Trust me, I cannot wait. We do have deliverables and stuff we need to meet content wise, but trust me, I'm with you. I want them to play, but I also want them to play when they're ready, right? I don't
Yeah.
want to force them into the fires when they don't even have a map pool. Like, I've been in scenarios like that, and I would never do that to my teams.
Because
I
that
will
could make or
wait
break
until
people, right? And that could be a
exactly,
team failure depending on,
exactly.
for sure.
Especially with the VRS system, right? Like, back in the day, it was like, just jump in the water. What the hell are you waiting for? Like, get your feet wet. Come on now. But like, if you falter on the VRS system, you know, there's some consequences for that. And yeah, so there's also the other side of people being too scared to play, right? And I'm
Mhm.
aware of that side too. And I'm trying to find the even ground. And I think we're doing that. We're giving the team like about a month of practice before this open qualifier, and they're ready to jump in and get their feet wet with this open qualifier. I think this is like a really good litmus test, right? It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of like initial pressure they feel probably, but I trust the veteran leaders of this team to be able to handle that and like convey that peace and calmness downward.
For sure. And I have one more question for you, but really quick, just because we're on the topic of VRS again. I mean, you even see some of the top teams in the world declining invites to like huge tournaments sometimes, and it makes you scratch your head and wonder like why. But then when you think of the logistics and everything, and is it worth it? Is the expense really going to be, if we lose, if we could be out a lot of money for, spending traveling and, putting you in a hotel and all that stuff. And you could be losing VRS points. And if you're like a team like Vitality, let's say, why the hell are you going to want to lose VRS, right? So it's kind of crazy. And then I saw somewhere, it was a tweet or something, that you guys were saying you're not trying to play every single event right out the gate. And originally I was like scratching my head. And then I was like, that kind of makes sense because you could just go immediately into a downward slope if things don't kick off great right away.
Yeah, it's you could be digging yourself out of a trench if
Yeah.
you start like like it's better to start at sea level. Like, I'll tell you that, than like falter massively because you're going in and you're just like grinding out matches
Yeah.
as like a new team.
Need to
Like, there's
breathe.
part of me, trust me, like as like an older player, I wish I could say that. I wish I could say like, just jump in. Like, what are you waiting for? Like, just grind out these matches. Like, experience. Who cares what the community says? Like, just get the experience. But I can't say that. And like, that's not appropriate for the world we're living in right here.
Yeah.
Like, there's consequences to that. And so I'm trying to adjust my framing with what like Graham has taught me. And I think we're doing that. I think we have like a really good compromise. And I think the wait is almost over now at this point, and like the community is going to get what they want. I'm going to get what I want.
We
And
all win.
yeah, we're all winners out here. Yeah, participation awards.
So I know you kind of touched on it, but what are the initial expectations with this roster? I know you guys obviously the goal of anything team wise is to win and to succeed. It's a competitive world out there in Counter Strike, and you see a lot of up and coming teams like Paravision, for example. I don't really know whose radar they were on before Budapest. Look at them now. You know what I mean? Um, when you gotta re-enter the circuit, and things have changed a lot since when did I say 2019? I think was the last time 100 Thieves was around. The things change pretty quick. So I'm sure,
Yeah.
especially guys like Rain and Device know how things have kind of changed. But like, what are you guys initially expecting out the gate?
I I try to temper my expectations, if I'm being honest, because I know that there's things that can happen that are just like completely out of control, out of my control. Like, a player health scare. We've already dealt with like minor things like that, and like the reason I could tell you like that we might not go to boot camp is like something kind of like wild that like you can't really envision. But when you have, like five grown men trying to mix their schedules to like practice day in day out and like sit down all day and do this, there's some things that can just go wrong, right? And so I try to like temper my expectations so that way I'm not met with a reality that, like causes me to get upset.
Yeah,
And so I like to like I don't really have any expectations for these early events. I just what I want to see is the players approaching it with, like immense drive and focus and grace towards each other, like in the server, whether win or loss, and just enjoying the moment and growing from it, right? I believe in growth, like growth potential. And so like even if they stumble out of the gates, it doesn't matter. Like I think they can grow, especially with the leadership and how I've talked with Glaive about like how he perceives things like that. So I'm not thinking we're just gonna win everything out the gate. Do I want us to? Of course I do. Of
for sure.
course I do. Uh, I think we used NIP as a case study of like how quick they were able to get in the top 20 with a free build, and anything around that time frame would be okay with me. I think we could do it quicker, a lot quicker, if I'm being honest. But I don't want to throw out a time frame because then it's like hypothetically we could be right at that time frame and like playing a match, and I put immense pressure on the players from an
Yeah,
answer right now.
that
So
expectation.
exactly. And like putting that expectation on the players that I've brought in here is not fair to them, right? We've seen this blow up in people's faces in the past. What was like C9, the Colossus, or what the fuck was that shit with Henry G back in the day? What was that shit? What was that shit called? So I'm trying to not do stuff like that. Like I'm just trying to like enjoy, just enjoy it. And the wins will come with the culture. The culture comes first. And we've created a very good culture, and I'm confident that the wins will come eventually. They could come right away. It might take a little bit, but I'm confident I got the right guys that if it takes a little bit, it's still going to come. It's just going to be a little delayed.
For sure. Well, that being said, I wish everybody involved with the whole organization the best of luck, especially the players. That was actually the last question I have for you, though. So my outros are pretty similar to every other episode I've done. I like to just shine the spotlight over to the guest, and if there's any type of last words on any level, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for having me. Thank everyone for being a part of the team that I'm building. All the people that I've been working with have just been so easy to work with. The leadership at 100 Thieves for trusting me with this, and the whole community for supporting us right now and getting behind us. And I do apologize that we haven't played any games, but I hope you understand. It's for a reason, right? It's for a reason. I want to see them play too. Trust me. You're gonna get what you want. It's coming. Yeah. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Alrighty, guys, and that will do it for today's episode of Halftime with K Bizzy. Mega shout out to Sean Gares, and also a massive shout out to Messioso as well, because I was talking to him originally. However, he is a busy guy, so we got in touch with Sean Gares. That's it. 100 Thieves, baby. Make sure you're liking the videos if you're on YouTube watching. Comment down below. Let me know how I did, what I could improve on, etc., etc. And definitely subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more banger podcasts in the future. But that is all we have for you guys today. So we are going to sign off and let you guys go. Have a great Friday. Have a great rest of your weekend. And we will catch you guys next week. Till next time, everybody.